Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another podcast with Dave and Sam. I'm Dave.
And I'm Sam.
And behind the controls, we've got the rock star Nantel. Hi, Nantel.
Hi there.
And we've got a very special guest today, an entrepreneur, a highly qualified entrepreneur, and we're going to be sharing the journey with us. Jessie, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to start like we normally start with some current affairs, and I'm going to touch about our national shutdown that's supposed to have occurred on Monday through the EFF, and I'm going to actually put a positive spin on it today. I know that I'm highly critical of our criminal government, but EFF just brought in quite an interesting spin. So coming up to the national shutdown, there was anticipation there was going to be a lot of violence and looting and that kind of activity. And even though there was quite a lot of court interdicts preventing the situation from spiraling out of control, I found that the Monday shutdown was actually very effective. The message got through, about load shedding. It's very interesting. There was no load shedding on Monday during the national shutdown. The message got through, and there was no violence. What do you think happened that EFF actually was in a situation that they were under control? What do you think that happened?
I think, to be honest, they just didn't want to be proven right. You know, people have a certain perception about EFF and that they, in fact, very strategically collaborate violence and coordinate violence.
Yeah.
And so it was almost in their best interest to go out of their way and disprove everybody. And I think that's maybe got a big part of why we saw zero violence.
Yeah.
I mean, at a march, at a protest, at a shutdown, zero violence. So I think it was very intentional and well coordinated by the EFF, and it was very strategic.
Actually, they made a very strong political statement by what happened, and the message came through. And I think the EFF actually accumulated some accolades by the way they conducted themselves. Also, a shout out to our police. They were there.
They were red.
They were there. They were present. It was well coordinated. It was actually all around quite a very good day on Monday.
I saw something very interesting on social media the days leading up to Monday, where communities actually came out boldly saying, you are not protesting on our roads, EFF, stay away. It was almost a sort of aggressive, like stay out of our town, stay out of our roads. And I think the fact that the communities spoke up, they almost preempted the shenanigans.
And it was stopped in its tracks. So it bodes well for our young democracy that we can have non-violent demonstrations by the EFF in particular. And load shedding's dropped miraculously since the CEO left. This Minister of Electricity, I was a little bit skeptical initially, but I think it's actually ended up being a very good move. What he did, why it's been reduced, is he approached the Department of Environmental Affairs because they had a cap on the emission, the pollution of certain power stations. And the Department of Environmental Affairs agreed that to lower the standards, to reduce the load shedding, and brought 2,000 megawatts into the system. That's why our stages have dropped. Now, one obviously begs the question as to why that didn't happen earlier.
Wait. Just back up a little
Yeah,
bit.
I mean,
Am I hearing you correct? So you
Yeah.
had one conversation with another department
Yes.
within government.
within government.
They upped the limit.
No,
the
they
cap.
reduced the emission limits in
They
terms of
reduced
for
the
health
limits,
reasons.
so that opens up.
2,000 megawatts.
So why?
I don't know why.
Well,
Well, I don't know why they didn't happen before. I just flabbergasted, but it's happened, and now I think I saw on social media this new minister. He looks a very agreeable individual. He seems a nice guy, and he's going around and let's see. It's
is he a man of the people?
I don't know. Well, it looks like it, but he got the department to reduce the emission limits and brought 2,000 megawatts onto the. I don't know what stage are we in today, Natal? What are we today?
We are in, just check,
I think 3 or 4 or something.
stage 1.
Stage 1. Stage 1.
Yeah.
What? Seriously?
Yeah.
Stage 1.
It must
Yeah.
be months since
Well,
we were
I thought
stage
like
one.
stage 4 used to be a bonus. Remember when it was stage 6?
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
that's basically
That is positive.
That is, yeah, we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to 2024,
That is
and I
very
think
positive.
we're moving in the right direction.
I think just for businesses as well, just the relief of the past 2 days.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
A lot
It's-
of damage has been done, you know.
yeah,
The
in the
economy
past-
is literally, you know, diving deeper.
Yeah,
So there must have been an awakening as well. you
it
know.
must have,
Yeah.
think so.
absolutely, yeah. And I think as well that our current government, I mean, they've dipped below 40% support, and I think by virtue of the fact that they're worried that they're going to lose power,
Yeah.
I think that's the motivation to try to sort things out.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's now suddenly out of the goodness of their heart.
No,
I don't
absolutely
think
not.
that
Yeah.
is
Yeah, they
okay.
do
Yeah.
need.
I wish it was, but be
Yeah.
that as may, we, the citizens, get to benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesse. Again, welcome. It's a real pleasure to know. I've only known you briefly, and what I've seen from our interaction is the level of tenacity that you have, and which is a good trade point for any entrepreneur. I would like us to start a conversation by giving us a bit of the background. How did you start? Give us a bit of history and then take it forward to now.
Thank you for having me here this afternoon. Quite privileged to be spending the afternoon with you. Thank you so much. Well, my journey has really been quite long. Yeah, I'd say I have been an entrepreneur full time for the past 10 years now.
Okay.
Qualified as a chartered accountant, went through the normal route of corporate, career development, and then eventually, it has been a calling since I was young. I come from a family of entrepreneurship. My grandfather had a parlor. He had a business. He ran a couple of businesses. My grandmother as well. She used to have a tuck shop, at the back of the house.
Yeah.
So I'd say that as I was growing up, I have had an exposure, a little bit of experience of entrepreneurship, but not at this level.
Yeah.
So yes, I have been privileged to be able to go through my career and qualified as a chartered accountant, currently as a registered auditor as well, and I followed suit. And yeah, it's been a couple of years. I'd say 12 years looking back. Quite not easy, quite tough, and really it takes a lot more than just wanting to do it. Passion,
Tell me, what drove you to become a chartered accountant? I mean, this is not really, can I say, a traditional career.
Yes.
So what made you? At what point did you say, hang on, I
Yeah,
want to
this is
become a
it.
chartered accountant. What was the trigger?
I've always loved numbers, and for quite reason, because of the background and having access to limited career development information and choices. I didn't know exactly what I really wanted to do with the numbers.
Okay.
So all I knew is that I wanted to become a doctor because, my community and the environment where I grew in, if you are a medical doctor, you've really achieved quite a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was only when I came to Cape Town. I'm originally from Limpopo, from
Okay.
Venda Thoyando.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so when I came here in back in the early 90s, I had a teacher in grade 9, Miss V. Abrahams. I think I should really mention her name. And first week, she told me, you are going to become a chartered accountant.
Wow, you knew that already?
She literally said, you are a good accountant, you understand accounting principles, and you're going to make a very good CA. And she'd always make reference to Raymond Ackerman,
Yeah.
the owner of Pick and Pay at the time, and then she'd say, you know what, I'm going to send you for VEC work so that you can understand how business works, but I see you as a chartered accountant.
Sure.
Wow.
I think that is where the influence really, started, and I started reading a little bit more about the career, and that was the
That's
beginning.
amazing. So the teacher was actually your main cheerleader at that stage when she identified, I suppose, your natural talent,
Yes,
your natural skills.
And that was in standard 9?
grade 7.
Oh, grade 7. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, grade 9. Grade 9 is
Grade
standard
9.
7. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
In standard
Yeah, I also
7.
get confused with these. The new system and grade.
Yes. Yes.
Sure. So when you finished high school, did you go straight into studying, or what did you do?
Yeah, so when I passed matric, I did not have sufficient credits to go into the BCom accounting stream. And so I had to look for an alternative, something a bit closer that would lead me into the pathway of my career journey. So I studied at CPUT, Cape Peninsula University of Technology, and I took up a course called then, I'm not sure if they still have it, Financial Information Systems.
Okay.
So it had a combination of accounting,
Okay.
information systems, a bit of IT, because I loved IT. I loved computers, so I thought that was IT at that time. And so when I progressed in the first 4 years, I took additional modules that were building me towards the become
with
accounting degree, like the law and auditing. And I used to actually study those after hours in the evenings.
Okay.
Yeah, building towards a become accounting degree.
And then you, after you did that, you registered obviously to university to get your.
Yes.
Which university did you study?
At UWC. I did a conversion course at
conversion.
the University of the Western Cape for 1 year.
Okay.
An interesting story on that one as well, because I went to the Head of Commerce.
Yeah.
It really worked. I mean, I've been bold throughout my childhood for a certain, I don't know.
So
Like,
you're the person who walks up to the door, knocks, and asks for what she wants.
Yes, pretty much, And I remember I walked to UWC, looked for Professor Barker at that time, and I walked into his office and I introduced myself and I told him what my career aspirations are, and gave him a lowdown of where I am in terms of my studies, and gave him a snapshot of where I wanted to be. And then he's like, okay, yeah, come and start next year. I'll give you 1 year to do your conversion. Prove yourself you can do it.
Okay. Jeez. Okay.
That must have been quite demanding.
It was. I mean, I was that type of a student who would sit right in front because I did not want any distractions. I sat right in front because I knew I only had one chance, literally.
Jeepers. And,
Yeah.
And after that, you did your articles.
Yes, and then after that, while I was doing my conversion, I then walked into PwC.
Okay. So you worked during the day and studied at night, kind of thing.
Yes,
So you did your articles simultaneously.
Yes,
Okay.
I did my articles while I was doing my honors.
Okay.
So I approached the HR manager at that time of PricewaterhouseCoopers, wrote him an email, sent my academic transcripts and a motivational letter.
Yeah.
And told him that, look, I'm doing my conversion, but I'd like to start my articles while I do my honors at the same time. And they invited me for a meeting. I took a day off, went there, and signed me up for 4-year training contract.
4
So I
years,
already
okay.
had a contract while I was doing my conversion at
Okay.
PricewaterhouseCoopers
Okay.
in Cape Town.
So you were killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Something to that effect.
Yes.
That's amazing. But I mean, you were single then, and you were still studying. What was your support system like? Because I'm hearing that you're from Limpopo, but obviously you moved to Cape Town.
Yes.
So how did you get that support that you needed?
My family. My mom and my dad have always been behind me.
Okay.
Obviously the academic part, it may sound like, boom, boom, I got it done very quickly, but it was not easy.
Yeah.
I repeated honors twice, and I only passed on the 3rd attempt.
Okay.
And my dad would keep on telling me that you can do it. You can do it. You don't need to drop. I will support you.
Just keep at it.
Yeah, keep at it. I know it's hard, financially and otherwise, but you can definitely make it. They could see the chartered accountant in me, and literally reminded me every single day.
This is something we bring up, okay, because we're going to go into your entrepreneurship journey, but already at that early stage, we comment this on a regular basis, the importance of having that support mechanism, because if you don't have that support mechanism, it's so much easier to fail as opposed to somebody behind you encouraging you, and particularly your parents at that stage, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And just not the financial support is equally important.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because at that point you sort of like have to take care of yourself. And take care of the other people behind you. So a lot of other children are not privileged to actually study and take care of themselves.
Yes.
So I was given the opportunity to take care of yourself, and we will be supporting you wherever you fall short.
Yes.
So
Very
because the
important.
career journey is very long.
Yeah. So then you were in corporate. I mean, PwC is like seriously corporate. So in corporate, you're a chartered accountant. You go through this process, and then one day you just decided, okay, I'm going to open my own practice. Okay,
I'm outta here.
Jump off the ship.
Okay, first of all, I mean, we all know that it takes a lot of courage to start your own business. Okay, tell us what actually happened. What made you decide to start on your own? What was the trigger, and what happened? Tell me.
So I have always known that. Yes, I want to be a chartered accountant. I would like to work in corporate for the experience. But ultimately, I knew that I want to go into business. Okay. And however, the business that made more sense was to, enhance on my profession, to go into a business that is aligned to what I know actually. Yeah. So I was more comfortable going into audit as an entrepreneur, having my own audit firm. So I started as having a consulting company for accounting and taxes. And then eventually I realized that, well, I can do a lot more. I know a lot more. And also for business development purposes, I can leverage onto my learnings and experience from PwC. Okay. And that's when I expanded my service offering into audit and business advisory.
So, but there was a time that you decided, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
Okay. What was the trigger?
Do
you remember? There must have been a decisive moment when you went PwC and you were hanging around and you said, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. Okay. When was that?
It was planned. I was actually at Chevron. South Africa, which is
Okay.
now Estron Energy.
Yeah.
And I was in the finance department.
Okay.
So I think at that point, that's when I had a full swing of running a business, although it was Chevron at a bigger scale.
Yeah.
In finance, I would work with different business units.
Okay.
I'd work with people in marketing. I'd work with an inventory business unit. I literally worked right across the entire entity, as a financial analyst.
Okay.
So during those years, my momentum was growing to say, look, and I mean, I remember the year before I resigned, I assisted in preparation of the financial statements of Chevron South Africa.
Okay.
So that meant consolidating
Yes.
financial information of the entire entity.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think once the project was concluded, I had like so much confidence.
You were equipped.
Yeah, I was well
Completely.
equipped and ready.
Yeah.
And apart from that, obviously, when I was still working full time, I had a side hustle, where I was doing books, and
So that's where it started. So that's the entrepreneurship angle,
Yes.
right? The side hustle.
Yes.
Because it normally starts as a side hustle and then becomes your main hustle,
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, so you're doing books part-time and then you started your... How long have you been now independent as auditor?
About 12 years now.
12 years. Is that when you started your practice?
Yes, and I started alone.
Okay.
I immediately when I left Chevron, I got an office, like a very small office, because I still wanted to get that corporate feel, leave the house and go work somewhere. And I had a small office in Century City, just not too far away from my previous work. And that's where I started. But along the journey, it got tough. I couldn't maintain the structures and so forth. And then I moved back home.
Okay.
Then I, worked partially. The house was demarcated into a working area and a living space. And then, I think about a year or 2 years later, then I could go back again into office working environment.
So it was actually quite intentional, the migration from corporate into your own business. And it sounds to me like it was more a case of the season dawned on you once you were equipped, than you saying, by the age of so-and-so or by this point or whatever point, I'm getting out of here.
Absolutely.
So that's quite interesting because that speaks to a very sort of cognizant or someone who's very aware of their path. So you would have been making intentional choices way back that brought you here. So I love that. That speaks to someone who's actually, like you say, you've always known. You've always known that you're going to, go into, since grade 9 you said,
Yes, grade 9.
You're going to be a chartered accountant and you had cheerleaders and you had people supporting you. So you've always known, but not everybody always knows. So what I want to know from you, so you've known, you're ready, you're set, you go, you're doing this. How were you received by the marketplace? We are talking about 12 years ago. Let's go
12
there.
years? Okay, well, it was the new South Africa. But I mean,
How
that's
was
an
that?
interesting question.
Because you've got this whole thing sorted out now and it's happening.
Yeah.
How was that entry into market for you? Maybe just talk about that a little bit.
Extremely tough.
Yeah.
Still tough.
Yeah.
Really still tough. I mean,
Do you still feel like you need to fight for your piece of the pie?
every day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can imagine the situation.
Every single
I
day.
can imagine. So, like a typical entrepreneur,
Yes.
you also got other side hustles. Now, I don't want to call it a side hustle because when you mentioned to me what else you're doing, what I envisaged and what you showed me, I said, wow, tell us about other businesses that you're involved in.
Okay. I own a beauty studio. I still
love
have the
that.
feminine side of me that is very strong,
Yeah.
although, in the industry that I'm in, one has to,
It's very masculine.
very masculine. So I really have to be strong, and appear to, be able to put on the gloves
Yeah.
all the time in the boardroom. However, I still so much in touch with my feminine side. I mean, I'm sure you can see how I look, the eyelashes
Yeah.
and so forth. So I've got a beauty studio in Parklands, Sundown, at the
Nice.
business park. And I actually started the business during COVID.
Wow.
Wow. So
Whoa,
during
whoa.
COVID,
Yes.
Whoa, during like don't
During
go
lockdown.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So how on earth did you start that during lockdown?
Planning and everything. And I think
But-
it was in we just had lockdown in 2019.
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
So 2020 December is when I opened the business.
Well, okay, because things were starting to open up a bit.
Yes.
Okay, just slowly
I
opening.
think
Okay.
they'd lifted the levels somewhat. You could go to the beach then
I
by
couldn't
December.
No, I remember. I was in Paternoster in January 2021 when I was finishing my book, and Paternoster's got this beautiful beach, and I couldn't go on the beach. It was still that time. There was still that lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was still restrictions.
And you couldn't drink alcohol. It was like really.
Yeah, and then it was
I mean,
between
this
the
beautiful
alcohol and the
place.
cigarettes. It was between
I
the
was in this
alcohol and the
beautiful
cigarettes.
place having seafood and I'm drinking alcohol-free beer. Incidentally, it just shows you how the mind works. When I drank those two alcohol-free beers, I actually felt tipsy. I seriously felt tipsy. It just shows you how the mind works. It was bizarre.
Yeah, true.
So you started when it was the lockdown was easing up a bit,
Yes.
and you decided I'm going to open, and was it well received?
It was. I mean, Tshiskhawe Beauty Studio is, for me, it's a demonstration of Black excellence in the beauty industry, and also diversity. Because, I mean, I feel like I want to market my business now. We literally, we provide services to both Caucasian and ethnic, clients, both from hair to, we're a beauty studio, so we do body massages, we do everything, waxing, and so basically it's quite diverse. And it's a very beautiful place for women to relax. And I would always be stressed. So, it's a good icebreaker for me, literally I just walk in there and I say, once a month, I need a massage. So I've got a reason why I need to go get the treatments.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I wanted to create a place for women to distress.
As it's only women.
And beautiful. No. For both men and women,
Okay.
because I do get, clients, male clients coming in for pedis, massages, and manis as well, and haircuts.
I don't have a problem with that.
But I was thinking about myself and other women first.
Yeah.
Because we're always at the bottom of the priority list. But men definitely.
So they come there.
Yeah.
And it's across the board. You find across the board.
Yes.
It really has.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I wish maybe we should put up some of the pictures up at some stage to show. It's actually it's really a beautiful studio.
Yes, we
that she's
should.
pulled up.
I'm itching just to go and find out and have
For
a look.
yourself?
Yeah.
There you go. You might have a new client.
Those are like
You might
one
have
of
a
my
new
favorite
client.
places.
You are booked. You're already booked. I'm going to make sure with the
I
book
promise you. Well, I think Dave could benefit with a few treatments as well.
Maybe we can do like a trade swap, the fees. Oh, no, but I'll be paid. No, that's just not going to work. That's not going to work at all.
It's a very good place to relax. I'm pretty sure you will
I love
enjoy
your
yourself.
motive, actually, because that just shows that higher thinking. It wasn't just for yourself. You didn't just keep it for yourself. You built it into something that everybody could come and benefit from.
Absolutely.
That's such just the beautiful way of a woman. Yeah.
But that's not all. There is yet another business.
But wait.
Tell us about that third business that
I love
you're
it.
building.
There's quite a lot of them, but okay, let's
There's more.
let's keep it to the Nub Fix.
The one where you do
Electrical
yes,
and plumbing
that one.
work, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a business called Nupfix. Of course, there's always repairs and maintenance issues in the house, plumbing, electrical, and so forth. So whenever there's a problem, for me, business has always come as a solution, literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's always, there must be a problem, then I'm thinking of a solution, and then it just becomes a business idea.
It evolves.
It evolves, yeah. And then I do some research, I look the margins, I look at, the sustainability and so forth, and then I'll be like, okay, let's start. So Nupfix as well is basically for repairs and maintenance for households, but now we also entering into the insurance, short-term insurance space for plumbing services and electrical work. So that.
So your line, so when there's a claim, they contact you for a quote. You
Yes.
say, I see.
Yes.
How's that going?
A registered service
Yeah.
provider.
Registered service provider.
How's that going?
Yeah, so Nupfix has been for 2 years. It's been operating for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much getting its ground.
It's early
And,
stages, yeah. And you brought your husband with you today, Bruno, and he's also an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Tell us a bit more. So it's strange that no, it's not actually strange. I think that when you're an entrepreneur, you attract, you find that your circle of friends
Yes.
tend to be
Like-minded,
entrepreneurial.
yeah.
Yeah, and you gravitate towards like-minded people. Tell us about that.
Very present support structure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And as an entrepreneur himself, we speak the same language. So our boardroom is in the car when we're driving to work.
Yeah.
I mean, business meetings are regularly happening.
Okay.
And it's quite, because entrepreneurship is a very lonely and a cold space.
Absolutely.
So having a partner that is also in the same space with you, it does bring some level of comfort.
Yes.
So these businesses, we literally started together from ground root.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So which really helps quite a lot, because strategic sessions are happening all the time, even though they do get to the boardroom, with other partners in the business, but at least there's always foundational work that is happening on a regular basis. So
again, we touched on the subject on quite a few of our podcasts about having a partner in your life that understands what you're going through and gives you the support.
Yes.
Because, like you say, it's a very lonely road. And if you don't find the right partner that gives you that kind of support, it can actually be very destructive to the business sphere.
Absolutely.
Because if you have, as an entrepreneur, you've got the pressures, the pressures of being a business, and you want to go home into an environment where it's understanding and supportive, as opposed to not having that.
Yes.
And this is why entrepreneurs' marriages fail. Because you don't have that support mechanism.
Yes.
And you tend to move on, kind of situation. I'm like that. I've been divorced for 11 years, and trying to find somebody that shares the commonalities is quite a difficulty.
It's quite rare, actually.
Yeah, it's quite a rarity. So accolades to you and to Bruno that you made it work, and have the support. Have you got kids?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I've got 4 kids.
4. Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
boys.
So, may I ask, are we going to try for a girl? For 4 boys?
For a girl, sure. I'm not quite sure if time's still allowing, but I think I'm quite content.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the queen.
You're the queen.
So, yeah,
Literally.
Literally. So now, how old are the kids? What's the range? The age range?
20, 18, 8, and 6.
Are they all 20 also stays at home?
20, yeah. 20,
So-
18, yeah.
So they're at school. Okay, so now with both of you being entrepreneurs, how does the logistics work at school?
The 20 and the 18, they are quite independent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it comes in quite handy because they really help with the kids.
For sure.
When we can't, you know.
okay.
You know, there are those late nights that you really work till...
Oh, they're young adults.
Yeah,
now.
they're young adults,
Yeah.
pretty much.
So did you do this kind of thing? You said, I'll buy you a car if you go and do the school runs for me. Is that what you did?
Definitely.
Yes. Even the 6-year-old, there are incentives.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, pretty much... I don't know, maybe background also sort of like influences the way you raise your kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing for free. You know,
That's it.
we have to work. They have to earn it.
Yes,
It's school
okay.
holidays now. So yes, they can rest a little bit, but when I come home, you know, there are chores that I've already tabled for them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, it's not time to just sleep and eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to do some activity.
Yeah, and then on weekends, then I'm gonna take you out. You know, they love to go out, and
So it's a give and take.
it's a give and take.
That's it, yeah.
So now, between
Successful parenting.
the two of you, who does the cooking?
We both do the cooking, but I think I love the kitchen, so I
Okay.
cook a lot more. I love cooking.
Okay.
And
can Bruno cook?
yes, he can
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm smiling there. Yeah.
And I got the cooking from my mom. I
Okay.
mean, I salute my mother. She's a very strong woman. I mean, as I was growing up, there was never a day that I ate cold food. My mom worked. She had a full-time job, but we ate cooked food every single day.
Okay.
You know, although she had somebody who's helping her with the house chores while she's at work, but she was so much in control of her, of her space.
Okay.
And made sure that she raised us properly.
So she delivered every day.
Yeah, she delivered. Like beauty stuff, I didn't learn it as an adult.
Yeah.
You know, every Sunday would line up because I come from a family of 4 girls. Would line up to get our hair done, and my mom would do it. So that when we go to school during the week, we're all looking tidy, and clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been on top of her game, and I don't even think I'm doing half of what she used to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite food then?
Sure. I don't think I have a favorite because I love all kinds of food.
Okay.
You know, different type of cuisines. You bring Chinese, I'm in it. You know, bring
Okay.
Indian food, I'm there. You bring African food, I'm there.
Yeah.
So I don't really have,
You don't have a
specific-
real preference?
No.
Okay.
And I cook almost anything. I mean, I'm the kind of person who go on YouTube. If I feel like eating something specific,
Yeah.
I go up on YouTube and look at a recipe.
And then
Jot
you
down.
find the time to do all of that.
I should,
Okay.
so that I have a proper balance.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all
but-
about balance, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
But
yeah.
before then, I should be honest, I couldn't do it. But I had to come to a stage where I say, you know what, I need a proper lifestyle balance.
Yeah.
I need to be there for my kids.
Yes.
I need to be there for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I need to be there for my husband. I need to be there for my family.
Yes.
So it's lifestyle balance.
It is about
You have to be
balancing.
organized to an extent because those things are constantly happening.
Yes.
So you find yourself, doing like 80% of everything and 100% of nothing.
Yes.
So how do you strike the balance? I mean, that's a huge thing. It has to be thought out and intentional.
I agree.
Yeah.
It had to come over a period of time, delegation. There are certain tasks that I can delegate. I don't have to find myself doing everything.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
so in the
yeah.
mornings, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. In the mornings, I make sure I drop off my kids at school because we need to have that
Interaction.
Yes, that interaction. Make sure that they are mentally sound and prepared
Yes,
for the
yes.
day.
Pick up the vibe.
Yeah, pick up
Yes.
the vibes,
Yes.
and there's always vibes, time and again.
Yeah, sure.
And then in the afternoon, because I know I'm in meetings, like, for example, where am I now? So there is no way that I could really be on top of it in terms of picking up my kids from school. So I then delegate that responsibility. So I don't find myself all over the place.
Yes.
If I need to cook a special dinner on a weekday, then I would get my helper in the house to do the preparatory work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chop the onions, chop the potatoes and
Yes,
whatever, and then I
yes.
come and do the finishing.
Yes.
So I do sort of like delegate quite a bit, but with accountability.
Yes, yeah. You see, so it's possible to do these kind of activities and find balance, you know. So let's get back to the accounting practice.
Yes.
And, what's the name of the practice?
Karampako Incorporated.
And now you've expanded. You've got, there's two of you, but now you've got a third partner coming into the practice. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you've got 15 staff?
20.
Oh, you've got 20?
Yes.
Which is what's gross since I spoke to you last. That's going all the time. That is fantastic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And your clientele, at the moment, it's mostly government partners that you're doing?
Yes.
Explain to us on that.
A lot more on the public sector space in terms of the client portfolio.
Okay.
But I think hence the other partners, we are trying to, get a diverse, client portfolio, also get into corporates as well.
Yes.
Especially in the business advisory space.
Yes.
So I'd say our client portfolio has been leaning more on public sector work, primarily because of the relationship with the Auditor General.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are a preferred supplier, a service provider.
Okay.
For the Auditor General, and
which is a massive accolade in
Yeah,
itself.
that's huge.
yes.
Yeah, and sorry, but thank goodness that the Auditor General has not been captured, because I think it's one of the few institutions in our country that
Yes.
actually is working.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So what happens? So say for instance that a government department is to be audited, they send you in with your team and.
Yes, we get to be contracted in, so we would be given like a scope of work that we need to do, and then we go in and get it done. And in most cases, we have to send our managers as well, who would make sure that they manage the team and the engagement properly.
With the level of corruption that's prevalent in our country, do you get pushback?
In the auditing space and environment, there will always be.
But okay, but there's quite a concerted pushback. I've heard.
Yeah, there will always be, but I mean, as an auditor, you must always remain independent and objective.
Okay.
And I think it's all about not exactly proving your findings, but demonstrating the evidence,
Yes.
behind your conclusions.
Yes.
So I would safely say that auditing, by its nature of work, there's always pushbacks, because the client almost feel like you are exposing their weaknesses.
Yeah.
So there will always be, but at the end of the day, we have to remain impartial. And objective in our work, and I mean, and also making sure that we add value.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's paying auditing fees is always a grudge payment. Okay.
Yeah.
But like in your practice, you've now expanded on the advisory side. So when you look at clients, in particular corporate, you look to add value as opposed to having a grudge payment.
Yeah.
So how would you add value? Tell me, just drill down on that.
So adding value is in simple terms, is you have identified that there are weaknesses, right, in their internal controls or systems or processes, and then you report on those issues, but then you tell them how to fix it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And if you're telling them how to fix it, and I think the time to take through, your client what needs to be done, instead of just writing like long reports,
Yes.
you take them through it. And I mean, if it means that you also have to advise them, if you feel that the level of proficiency and understanding is still not at the right level, you now also probably, advise a consultant to come in and assist them. Because at the end of the day, you are not just trying to catch a thief, you are also trying to make sure they recover,
Yes.
So there must be an added value for improvement on their side going forward.
So is that a conscious decision then?
Yes.
So when you actually do the audit and you analyze what's going on, do you automatically, even though you're not mandated, do you automatically say, hang on guys, but you're doing this wrong, etc., and you give that kind of input? Is that what you're doing for corporates?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have to do that. We have to do that. Otherwise, then what is the point of doing audit year on year if there are not going to be any changes?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not just about identifying, it's also about preventing the reoccurrence.
Yes.
And I mean, like we mentioned earlier, it's quite a masculine sort of industry. How do you push back? What are some of your tricks of the trade for those other young aspiring chartered accountants listening?
Yeah.
How I would really respond to that is I had to grow a thick skin over the years. You know, it's not something that I said, you know, on a snap of a finger, it came, you know. I had to survive in the jungle, and that's how my skin became thicker, and I found myself growing, you know, to be more confident, to be more outspoken.
And lessons learned type of
And
situations.
lessons learned, yeah. So I had to develop the tactics through the journey, and I'm still doing it. You know, it's not like I've gotten it. No, I do get surprised sometimes. That I'm like, oh, how could I have handled that situation? And then when it pops up again, then I know I should have, you know, reacted in this specific manner or handled in a way. Yeah. So I mean, the industry is still very masculine, and so every day is a learning curve. Every single day.
Yeah.
And mentorship, can I just add this one? Mentorship is also very important. I mean, along the journey, I've had a few mentors.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I seeked for mentorship as well.
Okay.
You know, somebody that maybe I looked up to, maybe I went to an event and that person spoke so well and they addressed some of the issues that I'm, you know, struggling
So you'd
with.
go and seek them out.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Have you still got a mentor now?
Very proactive.
Yes.
In what industry, if I may ask? You don't have to name don't name the mentor, but what is he? Is a person? I see. I went here. Eh? Is a person known?
No.
Oh, okay.
And I can also safely say that it's not a specific individual, because I look at who has got strength in what area that I'd like to tap in. So I would approach different individuals for different needs of mentorship and development.
How important is it to have mentors in your life?
It's extremely important.
Explain that. Explain it. We know this, but from your perspective, explain it.
And I mean, at different areas of your life and career. I'm not even saying as an entrepreneur and a chartered accountant, I need a mentor. From a young age, everybody needs to have a mentor. Okay. You know, a mentor is that somebody that you are going to, you know, you want to do something, you check in, you know, am I thinking correctly? Advise on certain issues or strategies or aspects that you've never been exposed to. And sometimes they don't have the answers and they go seek for answers from their mentors, you know, or other people in their circles. Yes. So it's basically that person that will hold your hand. And I mean, there is no specific description of which area the person will help you in.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's somebody that's going to hold your hand through the journey of your life.
Yeah.
And in most cases, they've experienced half of everything that you're going through. Yeah.
We find that to be very critical in particular entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah.
That you do find the right mentors, and it's such a personal activity that, you know, one mentor, your mentor probably could not be my mentor, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You know, because of different personalities, and you have to seek out individuals that actually got experience and can guide you, because then you try to minimize some of the pitfalls that one goes through as being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
You have to, unfortunately, as part of the entrepreneurship journey, one has to experience your own demises,
Yes.
which is part of your growth, you
Yes.
know. But you can reduce that by having proper mentors, and it's very, very critical
Yeah.
that one has. I'm still seeking mentorship, but I find that I mentor quite a lot of people, and I find that by mentoring, it sort of
comes
you
back
mentor
to
yourself,
you.
comes back
Yeah.
at you, kind of thing. You know.
Yes.
But it is really, really critical.
It does. And I like what you're saying about not waiting until you have a career to seek out or have a mentor. So, in fact, in high school, if you think back, your teacher was your first mentor.
Yes.
And if it hadn't been for her voice, which, you know, still carries through, look, how many years later, we're at a table, you're still talking about her.
You remember about it.
Yeah.
You remember it.
Yeah.
And I think those are the most influential years, your school years. And yet we don't have that sort of mentorship going on within our schools. I mean, kids are just
Well, I was just going to
trying to
say.
stay above board, except...
Yeah, well, I was going to say when I was at school, like it was a few years ago. Okay. In fact, 40 years ago, I didn't know when I was in matric what I wanted to do. Okay, and I went to a school counsellor, and I'm just putting this in perspective because sometimes one has to follow your own route. The counsellor said, Dave, you can become any kind of engineer, anything, a chemical, mechanical, chemical, whatever. Do not go into business.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. And I chose, I'm a professional accountant in South Africa. I started being a chartered accountant. I did my articles during the day and studied at night. But they recommended, this counsellor said, you cannot go into business. And I've been in business all my life. It's funny enough, my daughter's studying engineering. So maybe he foresaw. I don't know. Because he definitely got it wrong, completely wrong.
Yeah.
Skip
We're
the
going to
generation.
start wrapping up a little bit now. We are South Africans. We're patriotic about our country. We try not to put people on the spot, but no, I'm not putting you on the spot. No. But I want to know from your take, what you think the future holds for our country. Okay, maybe I should have. What I mean by that is this.
So broad.
What I mean by this is this. Okay, so we know that there are a lot of challenges in our country. Unemployment, we're the highest in the world. Youth unemployment is at 50%. Some areas like Atlantis, we're very active in Atlantis. Youth is at 75% unemployment. There's confusion in government in terms of policy. There's no clear policy. There's ruptions within the government or the ANC, where you have moderate faction, you've got the radical economic transformation, which is it's an acronym for theft. So you've got these two factions within our government playing out, and we've got a president that has to find this balancing act, and we've got challenges with electricity. Our education is one of the lowest in the world. Okay, so we've got all that, but on the other side, we have a very robust nation that actually calls out these kind of activities. We also have a civil society, very active civil society that fulfills quite a lot of the tasks that government should be doing.
Absolutely.
In fact, I see on social media now where companies are filling up potholes and writing on it saying, fixed by like Discovery.
Oh, wow, sponsored.
And then what they're doing is the potholes that are still existing, people are writing ANC. And so what is going on now? I don't know if you guys seen this. What's going on now? Because now it's been showing up, the ANC is now covering up the potholes and saying ANC. Okay. So in some bizarre way, a problem that a fundamental problem with our roads has been inadvertently being fixed with this process.
I think it's our sense of humor.
So but it gives us a sense of encouragement because we've got South Africans are got a high level of tenacity, and they take a situation like potholes and make fun of it. There was even a spoof by a guy that I don't know if you saw it. That talked about the potholes, and in the Western Cape, it's an extinct species, and so you take a problem. And you turn it into a situation where now people are joking about it, and you have people themselves, farmers, that have come out and are starting to fix the potholes. So there are big problems in our country, strategic problems, and we've got RET faction of the ANC. You've got the unions, it's a big problem in our country. They've got too much power. But yet we've got this robust engagement where people, like gift of the givers, they just go and help. You've got Section 27 that brought government to court about the latrine situation, and you've got all these civil societies are basically making our government accountable.
Yes.
So in that spectrum,
Yes.
I'm very optimistic. I'm looking forward
too.
to 2024, and
Yeah.
I believe it's going to be watershed year next year in terms of politics. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we're going to have a government of national unity where all the opposition parties form a part, except for the ANC, even include the EFF in part of that coalition. And run our government. I'm hoping that's first prize. Second prize is that you have a faction of the ANC and other opposition parties forming a coalition and governing on that course. But things have to change. It cannot carry on as it is now. It can't just stay the status quo. So that's my take. What's your take on the future?
I like the term that you used, game changer. I think all in our individual capacities, putting the government aside, we are all game changers. We just need to step up, get onto, the stage and do what we need to do. I'll give myself as an example. My academic journey and professional qualification development journey was really tough. But when I look back, I look at what can I do differently to make sure that this opportunity to become a CA as a black child, girl in South Africa, how can I increase the spectrum?
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why I started the audit firm and I stopped operating as an accountant and a tax consultant, because I'm not really creating an opportunity for young black chartered accountants in South Africa. Only a few firms, a handful. How many graduates are out there who aspire to become CAs and yet there's limited opportunities?
Yes.
So I create that opportunity.
Within your firm?
Within my firm.
Correct.
I'm developing young, aspiring, motivated, active chartered accountants.
Wow.
So that's why, I know we can, every government has got its own problems. That's just like every household, right? But at the end of the day what is that active decision that we are making as individuals? And we can't change and we can't solve all the problems of the country. But the little that you do, what impact
Correct.
would you make?
Yes.
That
yes.
10 CAs that I would develop in the number of years that I've been in the industry, how many other lives have they impacted out of that?
Yes.
And
exactly.
that's how, you get the spin-off.
So it's a lifetime commitment to change, and not just a career move and a industry move. It's
Yes.
a motivation that you have lifelong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're so right that everybody can make a difference, right?
Everybody.
Own your
Everybody.
space. Yeah.
You-
Everybody. Like, for
Yes.
example, yes, I've got an audit firm, but all the other businesses have got employees.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the passion that you have of being an entrepreneur, other than, creating wealth for yourself, you start looking at, whoa, you're actually creating employment.
Yes.
Although it's not in a big way, but
Yes.
those people are able to take
It's
their kids to
huge.
school,
Yes.
feed their families,
Yes.
and sustain their families in a small way.
Yeah.
And over and above that, then I have those talks. I educate them on how to take care of their finances.
Oh, do you mentor yourself in that regard?
Yes, I do. Whenever I have an opportunity,
Yes.
I share and
Yes.
I mentor.
Yes.
Yes. So I mean, it's a lot that I, as an individual, can do.
Yes.
And then government will just be an add-on when they have decided what they want to do.
Yes. Yeah, which is,
And then they will find us on the journey. We can't sit and wait.
Wait. Yeah.
no,
That
we
is
can't.
like a definite no-no.
Yeah, but you're so right again that it's incumbent upon all of us to make an impact. I mean, I made an oath myself that I'm here to serve. And that's and people say, well, I can't make an impact. People in general. And I'm quite vocal about it, that you can.
Yeah.
And by doing simple things, like by paying your car guard 20 Rand, by going to one of the retail stores, and there's a reason why they got name tags.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, why don't you say, hi, Martha, how you doing? And smile at her. Okay. Even though she might be grumpy.
Yes.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Just show some empathy,
Yes.
right? When you look at people at the robots or hobos, look him in the eye and say, sorry, I can't help you today.
Not today, yes.
Those are like small things that everybody can actually do.
There's no excuses.
Just be conscious of it.
Yes.
And like the waitress, you go to a restaurant, just be nice to your waitress.
Absolutely.
They're doing a job and tip.
Yeah, give a tip.
So you give a tip.
Yes. I mean, if you could sit and eat there, I'm sure you do have something
Yeah.
to give.
Yeah,
You're not missing that 10%.
and tip well, and make the experience actually a good experience to engage with you.
Absolutely.
So when people say no, I can't make a difference, okay, it's actually you can. All of us can make a difference. Doesn't matter how wealthy you are or lack of finances. You can actually make if you want to.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yes.
You must want to make a difference.
Absolutely.
And you can make a difference. And I think if we all have that collective mindset, things will change in our country.
And the corporates, the corporates must come on board. Like proper. They must really come on board.
Not compliance-based.
Not compliance-based. They must really come on board. It will go a long way,
Well, we've got a foundation, the Kaban Foundation, and part of that that route that we're taking is going to corporates and saying, hey, instead of just ticking a box for CSI, why don't you make a real impact? And we've taken upon ourselves that we're going to go and knock on doors and speak that language. It's a bit slow, but I think corporate's starting to become more and more social conscious, and it's driven by the consumer. Okay, it's driven by the consumer saying, okay, that's great, but let's see what you're doing for the community.
Yes.
And that mindset is slowly creeping into the corporate.
And while they're doing that, they also transfer some skills.
Yes.
Because you just don't want to be feeding. There must be a point where the person can actually feed themselves.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah,
Just dishing out money. Oh, great. Yes, money is good, but it gets finished, and the person who's supplying the money, they get to a point where they don't give it anymore.
Exactly.
But what have you done to that person to be able,
to transform
them?
Yeah.
Well, I think on that note, positive notes towards our country.
Yeah, before we change the whole world.
We change the whole world one person at a time, right? But
Yeah.
we start there. Jesse, it's a real pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And I'm honored that you are going to be you are the auditor now of the Kaban Group of companies. And, I'm very excited.
How would people get hold of you?
Yes, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
So,
I think, maybe we should put it on Facebook and that.
We can put it
On the thing. Okay.
comment
Yeah.
section.
okay.
But just tell us, how can I get a hold of you?
Yes, so on email, info at Karampako, CARAMPAKO.co.za. Yeah, that's the email, because Karampako Incorporated. Our offices are in Century City
Okay.
at Studio 5 for Conference Lane, Bridgewater 1. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming through.
Yeah, and I guess if they
honouring
wanna
us.
get hold of us on the landline, it's 021-879-1771. I'm actually shocked that I can actually remember the reception number, because I never call it. I was feeling a bit pressurized. Will I remember the reception number? Because I never
well
call the
done.
number.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we'll put those details up on
Yeah.
all our
Thank
social
you.
media platforms.
And I mean, you're happy to look at all scope of sort of services, or are you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the size of the client, small to large, we are here to help, to assist.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you
on
so
that
much.
note, Natal, thank you so much for being a rockstar again. Sam
I appreciate
and
it.
we bid you farewell.
This
Yes.
is
Till next
awesome.
week.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.